Hey, everybody. Hey, this is Steven, one half of the Two Geeks and a Microphone team, and it is wonderful to be here to say it's October and it's all horror season. And I have been inspired by the Three Geeky Dads podcast. If you've not seen them, please check them out. Great guys about watching horror movies. And so the challenge was said, hey, Steven, you should do some horror movies. And so being an ex-pastor, I thought it'd be kind of fun to give my own horror take on some different films. And so I'm loving it. So I would like to just connect with you. I decided to do The Ninth Gate because for this first one, because I watched it just about a month ago and really actually kind of enjoyed it, kind of a thing. And so hopefully the Three Geeky Dads aren't going to give me too much of a static or hassle. So anyway, let me tell you about it. I'm going to go through, just kind of do a quick plot summary about it. I'm going to give you kind of, as I normally do, my rating. We normally pick out something out of the movie and give you the rating based upon that. I'll tell you it's going to be something out of something, 9 out of 10 horseshoes or something, or fire breathing dragons, or we'll make it up as we go along. And that's really kind of what we're doing here. So I'm going to give you a plot summary. I'm going to talk some of the religious themes that you find in it, being that it's a horror film and it has there are some Christian themes, sort of, kind of, but I want to kind of talk about those because I think there's some important stuff. And then I'm going to talk about some of the performances of just the movie itself. And then there are some questions I'm going to talk about. So what are the moral or ethical questions that are coming out of the movie that makes one think? I know I overthink everything and it's a horror movie and I should just enjoy it. But hey, that's me. So hope you guys enjoy it. Now, real quick, I do have the trailer, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do the trailer. We're not monetized, and I'm adding to it, so hopefully I don't get a copyright thing on it because I'm still learning. And we're using a new system, everybody. We've been using StreamYard, but their prices went through the roof. So we're trying EV Mux, and I'll keep letting you know how it goes. So we're testing it out. All right, so let's take a look at the trailer, shall we?
May I take a look?
There's Johnny Depp.
All my own rare editions have the same protagonist, the devil. Only the supreme masterpiece was missing.
The Nine Gates is the kingdom of shadows.
Got
A book reputed to have been written by Satan himself.
I want you to go to Europe. I want you to get it for me.
You mean the devil won't show up?
Reputed to conjure up the Prince of Darkness in person. Some books are dangerous.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into, Mr. Corso. Get out before it's too late.
I'm afraid it already is.
At last the key will unlock the Ninth Gate.
Roman Polanski.
To travel in silence, to brave the arrows of misfortune, and fear neither noose nor fire. There have been men who have been burned alive for just a glimpse of what you are about to witness.
All right, so there is the trailer. If you have not seen it, it is an older movie. So yes, I'm just going to say right now, spoiler alert for you. So, all right. Well, with that, let's do this. So let me tell you a little bit about, you kind of got a glimpse of the movie. It ends up being really this whole story where Johnny Depp plays his character by the name of Dean Corso. And he is a rare book dealer. But what you see at the beginning of the film is he's not should I say he's unscrupulous book dealer. He gets the best deal he can out of a book and making people think that a book is worth more than what it is, or the reverse of something that it's not really worth a whole lot. He'll just, I'll just go ahead and take it off your hands when it's worth thousands of dollars. So he's very morally ambiguous at the beginning. He's neither good, neither bad, either, kind of thing. So, but he gets hired to find this book. And the thing is he said, no, there's only one authentic copy. And they're like, well, wait a minute. We heard there were 3 copies. And so he's sent off on a journey to find the other 2 copies. He gets to have the one copy of this book that's called The Nine Gates of the Kingdom of Shadows. And so he goes off on this adventure to see the other books. He knows who the owners are, so it's not like it's unknown, but he goes to see them. Can I see your book? And he notices within the book that the illustrations within the book are different. So the question is which one are the authentic ones and which ones are not? Now, this movie is on a couple of different levels. And so obviously there's the mystery, there's the horror, it's the who's who. There are characters introduced that you're not quite for sure who they are. There's a scene where he goes to this rare bookshop, and there's these two brothers, and they're twin brothers, and they're hysterical. It's very interesting, but there are clues within the scene that I noticed that I watched that kind of makes you go, are these the guys who made the extra copies? Were they forgeries or not? And then at the end of the film, he goes back to that shop. Those brothers had been dead a long time. So there's more that happens there. And actually, when they go in, there's these two guys who are kind of taking down the area or moving things out and out of that area. It looks like it's been dusty for years, but he was just there not 3 weeks earlier. But what's interesting, it's the same actors who play the twin brothers in the middle of the film or the beginning of the film, and then the two guys the two workers at the end is played by the same people. So it's actually really interesting. That's just another fun little tidbit. So he goes across Europe and finds out, and then they have to realize which of the images, the pictures that are in the book, the drawings that are in the book, the engravings that are in the book, which ones are specifically real and which ones are not. And then when you put them in the right order, then it becomes a ritual of when you can become immortal. And that's where you see, I'll talk about the Frank Langella, who was playing Boris Balkan, who's kind of like the guy behind the scenes through the whole thing. Each one of the characters have some interesting symbolism with each one of them, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But he sends them off on there. But there's the girl. Who's the girl? There's different aspects of the story as which book is the right one, or are they all the right one except for the pictures are not the right ones? And if you do the ritual wrong, you'll get consumed and all this kind of stuff. So the goal of the whole film, like the MacGuffin, as it were, was to find the book, but the book had a purpose to see, I want to unlock the secret to, I can go into the presence of the devil kind of thing and ask him, or you don't know if it's a wish giving, he'll give you 3 wishes. I'm just making that part up kind of a thing. So a couple of things I want to bring up is within the film, just from a religious point of view, is you do have satanic imagery. You do have the aspect of inverted crosses, pentagrams, demonic, illustrations, and do they look like illustrations that reflect some of the scenes that you would see in the book of Revelation? And yes, there is one specific one, is one Babylon, or is it the harlot kind of a thing? I'm going to come back to that. Then the 9 gates, it's kind of interesting. You've got these 9 pictures, so each one, got to go through these 9 gates. There is an allusion to this. And I'll get it for you. Let me get it. Is this, which is, I'm going through the Divine Comedy and actually just Inferno right now, and how many gates are there? There's 9 gates. So I think there's a connection with this. Now, the reason I'm going through this book is because I personally believe most people get their theology of hell from this book than they do the Bible. So there's not 9 gates. Spoiler alert. Not that I really want to go to hell to find out myself, but all right. So the 9 gates could serve as an allusion, allegory back to Dante's Inferno. There is this whole thing about temptation throughout the whole thing. There's, from a biblical point of view, the concept of temptation versus testing. In other words, in the Greek, in the New Testament, there's some really cool aspects of where the New Testament, talks about testing and tempting. They're very similar terms, but they have a different purpose. Testing is for the purpose of showing goodness or coming out of it correctly or learning something. But tempting is to bring down, looking for failure. So in here, you're looking at temptation more so than testing. And why do I say that? Because we see Corso, Johnny Depp's character, really kind of mirror the aspect of different biblical fails. In other words, you think he's doing something right and he fails and stuff. And at the end of the film, there's a big clue on that, which I didn't know that was going to be in the film, kind of thing. Those who have seen it probably know what I'm talking about. But he falls into the temptation with the girl, and really, who is she? And it kind of gives you a glimpse that she's probably the harlot that's in the images of the book. I got to talk about some of the performances. Johnny Depp was fabulous. He was a skeptic at the beginning. I don't believe in the devil, kind of a thing. And then as he goes through it, he becomes more and more aware of the supernatural presence of things that are going on. And then you see the girl, and there's some things about the girl, and then her eyes change colors and all these kind of things. And he seems to fall in love with her, kind of a thing. It's more lust than love, in my opinion. But then what happens at the end? Now, those who have seen it, I would love to get your input on it as well. Sam? Hey, Sam, real quick. Hey, we are learning a new system, EV Mux. So I just now got it, but great to see you with us. He also says, Jesus is Lord. You got it, man. Love it. So, yeah. Can you believe, Sam, that I'm doing this as an ex-pastor, and I'm reviewing horror movies? It was a challenge by the Three Geeky Dads podcast. So glad to have you here, Sam. Good to have you here. A couple of things I want to talk about the points. I'm going to talk about some of the moral questions to talk about through the film. Yes, again, as I said earlier, I overthink these things. First is Johnny Depp, as I was talking about, he's got this arc, and then he does come to believe from the religious point of view, there may be something to who the devil is, and he's intrigued by it. That's about as far as I'll go with it. Now, Frank Langella, gosh, I can't remember if I'm saying his name right, but great actor. He's been all kinds of great stuff. As he plays Boris Balkan, it's a person who is obsessed with something, fanatical about it. They talk about, I'm a fan because I'm fanatical about it. Football fans, they're fanatical about it. Christian fans, because they're fanatical about it. But I think is diametrically opposed to someone who you would think would be what Christians would call, I'm a strong Christian. It becomes someone who is a strong pursuer of satanic knowledge. He's got all these books you saw in the trailer. He's got all these books where he's talking about, it's all about Satan, kind of a thing. The girl, I think her name's Emmanuel Signer, I believe. I think she ended up marrying Roman Polanski. She's the girl who's the mysterious, who I've already alluded to, that I think is really Babylon, or the harlot individual. But she's mysterious. She comes in at different times and just happens to appear, and she's guiding him. And I'm curious to some of your theories of what you think who she is and why. And why is it that she's already leading him down the path even when he only has one book? It's really fascinating. Polanski, very much, very good at building tension, very good at building atmosphere. He's the guy who did Rosemary's Baby. I know there's some crazy weirdness with him anyway in real life. And if you're aware of that, you can comment down below and we can chit chat about that. Also, you'll notice there's the way they use lighting in this film is very interesting. His use, what is light and what is dark, and it is used with purpose. In some areas where they're talking about when they're in the bookshop, it's very light, it's light outside, but then how lighting is used in connections with how people talk with one another, that's something that's really neat that I think is just still exploring good versus evil nature. I like the European setting for the film. I thought that was really good because it gives that sense, when people think of Christendom, just the Catholic Church and the ages that have occurred with how Christianity grew out of there. And you've got all these mysterious chapels and castles and cathedrals and all these different places. And here we have a book. Well, I think the aspect of the book is meant to mirror the aspect that we have the Bible, which is a sacred scripture for us as Christians. But then here is this book that's a satanic book. Now, it's not like the Satanic Bible. It's a little different because it's about, hey, here is how you can connect with the devil by doing this ritual, this crazy ritual, but you got to have the 9 gates in order, right? Now, here's the questions real quick. The questions that I want to bring is one of the moral questions that I think good horror movies will ask these moral questions and show you the downfall of them. And this is what's really good is the danger or even the obsession with hidden knowledge. There's something about our culture that loves hidden knowledge. You can look at other religions. I at a university, I taught comparative religions for a while, and it was so interesting. Everyone has a biblical text, or excuse me, a sacred text. Force of habit, my bad. Everyone has a viewpoint. They have a text that they consider sacred. Even I dare say Scientologists have a series of sacred texts. You pay this amount, then you get this information revealed. And so it's taken that hidden knowledge to an extreme. You have to pay so much to be a part of this before you can get this knowledge. Gnosticism was a form of Christianity that came out that was all about knowledge is salvation. That's a whole nother subject. But the point of the matter is there's always seems to be something. Let's go back to the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden was Eve, and Adam was right there with Eve. So let's not go jumping on Eve about the whole apple or banana or whatever it was they ate kind of thing. But what did Satan say? The snake said specifically, he goes, "Oh, he knows that if you eat this, you will have knowledge," kind of thing, just like him. And then they saw it and said, "Oh, it looks good to eat," kind of a thing. And she gave it to Adam, who was right there with her. So there's something to be said about hidden knowledge in that pursuit. I don't know if it's something that's ingrained within us. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts about it. And then there also is this view, another moral question that comes up is faith versus skepticism. And how do you balance or how do you reconcile them? Corso, in Johnny Depp's character, went from a skeptic to definitely a believer by the end. But I don't mean the sense of when I say believer, Christians would say, well, I'm a believer, that means I believe in Christ. I think he was a believer in Satan by the end of it because of all the things he's experienced it. There is also the question of the price of paying the price for immortality. It's the question that, and within Christendom, we'll ask the question, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his own soul? So I think there's another aspect to talk through, to think through. For in the story, I think it gives a very good downfall of Frank Mangelo's character. Gosh, I'll hand a blank there. Boris Balkan, when at the end he's doing the ritual and he gets it wrong. And what happens to him at first, he's like, gets consumed as the fire doesn't bother me. Then all of a sudden he's like, kind of a thing. So, and remember, his thing is all about obsession and fanaticism. And what are the lengths that you would go to get what you want? And for him, it was that concept of immortality. He was, spoiler alert, I mean, this is an old movie, but he takes lives, it's him, in order to get what he wants, which is immortality. I think the other thing is, as Christians, we need to come to grips with, as those who are religious teachers and leaders, we have a moral responsibility, a duty and responsibility. And what happens is, in this film, you see a leader of an occult and how he treats his followers, or there's this secret sect of believers, and there's doing these rituals, and he comes in there and, you guys are idiots, kind of a thing. So there is a sense that as religious leaders, there is a responsibility in what we do. And I think even for those who are involved in satanic issues, there can be a fanaticism, and we see that in the film. So I don't think it's just exclusive to Christians as much as it is to many different religions. We get excited about what it is that we're learning about. But I think in horror movies, that fanaticism always leads to murder, kind of a thing, or something happening. So those are my viewpoints on how I think some of these things can affect spiritual perceptions, just like I was talking about how in the Divine Comedy, people get most of their theology from on hell from Dante, and not even realize it, that some of that it's not in the Bible. I think it's the same here. There's a lot of things that happen here that aren't in the Bible. But was it enjoyable? Yes. My final thoughts as a thriller, it was great. I really enjoyed it because it was a mystery. Again, that hidden knowledge. Ooh, is the book real? Is it not real? Which pages are real? Which are not? Okay. And when people start getting picked off, like, oh, that owner is down. Oh, that one's down. Oh, they got killed, kind of a thing. I think there was just a sense of, oh, it is kind of a who done it. Again, I think some of the oh, here we go. Sam, I gotta put this up. Sam goes, I think a lot of atheists get their theology from Hollywood. Yes, I totally agree. Or YouTube channels, so they can argue and have fodder to have their own YouTube channels. So, kind of like what I'm doing. But you are absolutely correct. Movie plays a lot more about spirituality than we think. I think that's why it's a good thing where, like, the guys who did the Kendrick brothers and the movies that they make, the Christian movies they make, I think that's why they do that as well. So the my grade on this film out of 10, I'm going to give it out of sacred text. I'm going to give it, actually, I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it, actually, and that's an older movie. It is dated, so I tried to put that in perspective, but I gave it a good 9 out of 10, which means I would watch it again. So 9 out of 10 sacred text, evil sacred text. Here, let's do it that way. So anyway, hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure that you subscribe to Geeks and a Microphone. We're doing some new things and trying out new things, but you're going to see me do more of these ex-pastor watches horror movies, and so we're just having a lot of fun with it. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you all. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show. And this is just a real quick, how shall I say, just a real quick, I guess I just looked at the time. Okay, 20-minute discussion, but I love it. Hey, make sure you like and subscribe. Hang out there with us. We love you guys and the people coming in. Sam, great to have you join in. I hope everybody has a wonderful Halloween season.
Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.